in Cochise County, Arizona, a man sat near the top of the legal system. Paul Correa was the chief civil deputy county attorney. He worked directly under County Attorney Lori Zucco. He had practiced law since 1996. He had served as an assistant attorney general for the state of Arizona, defending state agencies, the Department of Public Safety, and 3 universities. He was a U.S. Army Reserves veteran. He was the top civil lawyer in the county. On December 17, 2025, a 12-year-old girl walked into a Target store in Sierra Vista. Her name is being protected. Her parents are Stacey and Jason Greer. What they didn't know was that a man had been following her through the aisles, holding his phone in a recording position, capturing video of a child. Target surveillance cameras caught everything. Correa trailed the girl through multiple sections of the store, aisle after aisle. His phone trained on her the entire time. Then he went to the parking lot. The girl's father, Jason Greer, noticed Correa sitting in his vehicle. His pants were disheveled. His phone was propped against the steering wheel. When Jason confronted him, Correa said he was shopping. But Jason blocked Correa's vehicle in and waited for police. But here's what happened next. Correa didn't wait. He drove to New Mexico. It wasn't until about 15 hours later after he returned that Sierra Vista police finally arrested him. Body camera footage shows the moment officers approached Correa. And on that footage, you can hear Correa identify himself as a county attorney. He mentioned his position multiple times, as if his title might shield him from what was on that phone. He was booked into the Cochise County Jail on December 17th. The next day, County Attorney Lori Zucco announced his immediate termination. The statement called the allegations deeply disturbing. The initial charges were serious: harassment by surveillance, public sexual indecency. Evidence tampering. The public sexual indecency charge was later upgraded to public sexual indecency to a minor because the victim was 12 years old. Because he worked for the county attorney's office, a conflict of interest was obvious. The case was handed to Rachel Shackelford, the La Paz county attorney. Correa was moved to a different jail. On January 8, 2026, Correa pleaded not guilty, by phone from his jail cell. Then came the deal. On May 19, 2026, Correa accepted a plea agreement. He pleaded guilty to 1 count of felony tampering with physical evidence. That was it. The charge of public sexual indecency to a minor, dismissed. The harassment by a surveillance charge, dismissed. The sex crime charges were gone. Sentencing is scheduled for August 4, 2026. Correa faces probation or potentially years in prison. Judge Henry Whitmer will decide. But the victim's mother, Stacey Greer, released a statement that cuts to the bone. She said, quote, "We cannot continue to allow people in positions of public trust to get away with sexually motivated crimes, especially against children." She went on. To us, it felt like the full truth of what happened that night was erased, and his secret would be kept for his next victim. She talked about accountability. She said, "When someone in a position of power and trust is allowed a plea deal that avoids sexual charges, it leaves many people feeling that accountability depends on who you are." Think about that. A man who defended the state in use of force cases, who represented the Department of Public Safety, who sat at the top of the county legal system, caught following a 12-year-old girl through a Target, caught in a parking lot with his pants down, and the sex charges disappear. The felony conviction will have professional consequences. Stacey Greer said she hopes he will no longer practice law in Arizona or any other state. But the question that hangs over Bisbee, over Sierra Vista, over all of Cochise County, is the one on that protest sign outside the courthouse. If this were your child, would you offer a deal? What's your take on this? Send this to someone who needs to see it, and hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss what happens next.